Hi everyone, we're back for our 10th artist sport conversation. This time we are going to be talking with LIO, who is a Sheffield based alt pop band. So it might be a little bit on the loud side tonight. Oh, LIO's here. Yeah, it might be a little loud tonight. I kind of night, but we should be fine. So we're just gonna wait for LIO to join. Hi,
Hey,
how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. Lovely to meet you. So I'm Anne, by
Me
the way,
too.
never met before, and for everyone watching.
Sorry, what's your name? I missed that. Nice to meet you.
And you, it's actually really nice. I was looking through all of your photos, and I was like, damn, you got good glasses. So,
I wore them for the occasion. Thank you.
um, so yeah, we were just gonna have a little chat tonight about the support that you've received through people like Higher Rhythms and Help Musicians. And I was hoping that you could just kick it off by telling us a little bit about who you are and the music you make.
Yes, of course. So I'm Leonie. I sing in my band Leo and play a bit of guitar, but less and less because I've got a guitarist now who can do it way better than me. So um, and I've been singing my whole life, and my background is more musical theatre-esque, but then I kind of decided to do my own thing 4 years ago, solo, so to have more of a creative outlet. So I started Leo as a solo project in 2016, and then I added a band in 2018, basically out of boredom. I was just a bit bored of going to gigs on my own, playing everything by myself, having loads of ideas and not being able to do it by myself. So yeah, that's why I got a band together, and it was also it's quite a natural process of getting the band together. I think I was ready at the time, and that's kind of, yeah, that really brought Leo to a next level of seriousness. And so in the past 2 years, obviously this year has been a bit quiet, but
Yeah,
if I look at what we've achieved since 2018 of being a band, it's been a really great experience so far.
well, I was also, I mean, I did have a little bit of a stalk earlier. I hope that doesn't scare you. But I was looking at your trajectory over the past years. Really, it's been a constant incline. And it's really nice to see. Like, it's just like success after success and like ticking away at like every little bit. Which is
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah, it's definitely been every step of the way has been a big motivator, and um, a big thing there was, I think, also me quitting my full-time job to have more time for music, and that was 2 years ago. Yeah, 2 years ago this month actually, and that's helped so much to really focus my efforts and to really learn more about the music industry and see what I wanted to do. And then, even then, it was still kind of, okay, we'll try these things, and they all worked out.
It's a big step, isn't it? I feel like, well, obviously financially it's a big step being like, I'm gonna give up my job, I'm going to focus full time. But I feel like saying that to yourself, it puts you in the mindset. You're like, well, this is who I am, this is what I do, and I'm gonna try really hard for it. And
Yeah.
I was hoping we could talk a little bit about no, not Hypertribe, Higher Rhythm. So I was having a look at the Higher Rhythm website, and I realized it's very similar to support that we offer through Launchpad. There's a series of live opportunities, mentoring opportunities, and then also like workshops and panel discussions. And I was just hoping you could tell us a little bit about how you came across them and, excuse me, when you applied.
So I think Hi Rhythm got in touch with me via Twitter about 2 and a bit years ago, which it kind of, all the timing of me quitting my job and all that really fell in place with each other. And I think it all, both kind of inspired each other, of High Rhythm contacting me and me already not being really happy in my job at the time. So they contacted me summer 2018, I think, and they had a PRSF Open Fund project running at the time that offered artists the opportunity to go into the Higher Rhythm recording studios in Doncaster to record one single with professional engineers, professional mixing and mastering for free. So any artist who watches this will know anything you can get for free, which is professional. Always keep in mind it has to still be professional, but everything that's offered to you for free is amazing, and you should always take that opportunity with both hands. So I'm quite a skeptic person, so I still kind of held off the boat until I actually met them and could grill them on every single element of the project. Because at the same time, whenever anything is offered for free, you're a bit like, what? How? Why? Why me? So to kind of try and find out if they were scamming me or something, I did grill them quite a bit, but they didn't. So we went into the studio late 2018 and recorded which is now our third single, Burn, which came out in April last year. And that was such a good experience, and it was such a nice weekend. And after that, they had already an HMUK program running, which was at the time, I think it was HMUK and Arts Council funded, which is the Breakthrough Artist Development Program. And that was going into its third year at the time, which is very similar to Launchpad, which is all about mentoring musicians and offering them live showcases and free recording studio time, and basically just learning anything you want to learn about the music industry. So I got onto that program as a band, but because I'm more the face and the manager and everything behind it, it was mainly me doing the sessions directly with the people at Higher Rhythm, which has been fantastic because I learned so much about more the business side of the music industry, which I wanted to learn more about. I learned more about recording, and I finally got the confidence of buying a bit of a home setup. And we got loads of live showcases through it, and all that support and belief was so helpful because, especially because even though I've always done music in my life, I did a law degree, so I was never on the path of being a full-time musician or doing stuff with music and creativity full-time. So having that in that year where I really was finding myself again and kind of going through a lot of changes, just having someone to talk to and just pass your ideas by was so helpful. And I learned so much that this year I'm actually the mentor on the program.
Wow, you must have really absorbed all of that information.
Yeah, it was so good, and I think is at the same time when you have a mentoring program like that, you need to be proactive as well, because it is a great opportunity, but it's not like they're going to give you everything on a silver platter. Like, you need to ask, because you're not doing a university course, you're not doing a college course. The lesson plans aren't written. It's you who has to give them what you need or tell them what you need, and then they will guide you in that. So it's very much the opportunity and being proactive at the same time in actually getting all the information that you want.
Absolutely. And I think, it's kind of like you said earlier, whenever these opportunities, whenever you come across them, like, yes, look into them, make sure they're good. But they do exist. And, people, I think, often look for like one solution fixes all answer, which doesn't exist. So if you have the opportunity to learn more about the industry and to give yourself the best chance possible to be as clean up as possible and as proactive as possible, for free through a program that is literally there to do that for you, then it's a really great thing to get involved with. And it's obviously working.
Yes, yeah, it's been just 2019 was amazing. And yeah, I think we'll mention that in a bit as well, but that also helped me to apply for direct funding, because I always like to think of mentoring projects like this and free studio time, it's kind of indirect funding because the organization gets the funding and then you can apply for that or they find you. But it's sometimes a lot of a bigger hurdle to apply for funding yourself. But I did that with HMUK at the end of 2019, and I think because of all the things I did and all the things I learned, I was in a really good position to apply, and that was successful in the end as well. So
Yeah,
it kind of went from funding to higher level funding to even higher level funding.
to like world domination. It's only two
Yeah.
simple steps. And I just wanted to ask you a little bit about that actually, because you got Do It Differently funding from Mount Musicians, didn't you? And
Yes.
that is currently open for application until the 23rd of November. So I was hoping you could just share with us a little bit about how you, sorry, God, I've got like hiccups today, how you found the application process and also what your project was, like what your outline was for that funding bit.
Yeah. So I I'd already been looking at quite a lot of funding pots and funding opportunities, which the little shout out, the HMUK, which is Help Musicians, they have a funding wizard. So for anyone watching who doesn't know this yet, they you can just Google HMUK funding wizard, and they sorry, it's bonfire night, and
Yeah,
they really they love the big bangs. Um, So yeah, on their website you can kind of just filter through what funding opportunities would be suitable for you. I think you can fill in what sort of musician you are, what genre, what you want it for, in terms of do you want it for touring or live or equipment and stuff like that. So that's a really, really good resource to check out when you are thinking about getting some funding. And I think musicians in general should always look for money wherever they can get it. So even if you feel like you might not be ready, just start looking at it because it's always a good preparation for when you are ready or when you do have a really good project idea.
yeah,
Yeah, I
goal.
always like, sorry?
It gives you like a goal for the next step, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And so when I applied for the Do It Differently Fund, I'd already applied for a few things prior because we'd started recording our debut EP at the time at a studio in Sheffield. And obviously an EP is expensive. So we just needed a bit more money for all of the ideas that we had. And I really wanted it. It's still not out because of lockdown and COVID, but I really just wanted it to be a really cool project where we had more possibilities creatively than we had before. And I've always wanted my music to be quite not theatrical, so to say, but have a clear branding and clear message. And I do like really over the top things. So when you want something like that in your music video, you're going to have to pay for it because it's hard to do certain things on a lower budget. And I just kind of wanted to treat myself as well. I was like, I want a budget this time. um,
I lack of dancer and I want them to be fed.
exactly. Like I want to pay people. I don't want to be like, oh, I have no budget because that's the reality of it. And everyone in the creative industries knows it. And it's the worst when you're the musician who always wants to be paid, but then can't pay someone else. And it's this vicious cycle of, oh, sorry, I really don't have any money. So getting funding is amazing to kind of circumvent that conversation of I can't pay you.
This is a
um,
nice paper for my career.
yeah, exactly. So I'd already kind of started writing down what we wanted to do with the project, and I think just before I applied for Women Make Music,
Yeah.
wasn't successful at the time. And I think that's something to keep in mind as well. A lot of the projects that you'll apply for will not be successful. I think I have no statistics, but when you see an artist being successful for funding, I think they've probably sent out 10 applications and one might have been successful. So it's definitely not an easy process. The competition is high, but always go for it, because
Yeah.
there's nothing to lose if you don't have it yet.
Absolutely. And you can keep going back as well. I think that's something that's really important. If you don't get it once, apply
Yeah,
the next year or apply for another fund. There's so many for different points and careers. If you don't get
yeah,
one,
exactly.
Ireland.
And if you've already written out your project and you apply for different funding pots but for the same project, then you've already written it down once. So all you have to do is tweak it compared to the terminology that different funders look for. But yeah, for the HMUK one, I'd already started writing a brief proposal for the Women Make Music Fund, and I'd submitted that. And I think the deadline for HMUK at the time was 2 weeks later. And it was, I was really busy at the time, and it was a longer application. So I almost didn't apply, because I almost thought, oh, I don't have time for this. I literally have like a few days. I can't reply to all of these extra questions. And I can't believe that I almost didn't now, because I literally just remembered this, which only goes to show, never think, oh, I probably won't get it anyway, because I got it in the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think, yeah, with that project, I think the main thing was, and I think that's for every funding opportunity, is just really knowing what you want from the money.
Yeah.
I read this, I think it was a musicians union blog about how to apply for funding, and it was such a great piece of advice where it said you always need to write your funding project in such a way that if the other person has no background information about who you are, what you want to do, or what you like, they still have to be able to do the project. So that's how clear your project proposal needs to be.
Yeah.
They have to be able to follow it step by step. And when I look back at the proposal now, I think I nailed that quite well at the time, where you could see that I had already been writing a few proposals prior, that I already prepared my ideas, and that by the time I got to the HMUK proposal, I really knew what I wanted to say, and I was really almost formal about it, of this is who we are, this is what we've achieved, this is what we want, this is why. And I think that's the main thing you need to keep in mind. Like, you always need to keep it quite formal, and as a writer, it's quite difficult to not make it pretty and add loads of sentences that aren't really necessary. But yeah, you just need to sieve it down to the most important information.
Yeah, I think that's actually a really important thing to have said, because especially like with Do It Differently, they do support people across many genres and different career stages. So they're probably just going to go for the people who are like, I completely understand your project. You're going to make this work and it is going to reach your desired outcome. And it's like, it's what you get to find with word count. I'll put instead of
Mm.
like really tap you. And then it gets to the, like, I've gone over the word count and you have to get rid of that. And you're like, no, all my personality was in that one sentence. But
Yep.
actually, the project and the plan functions perfectly without it, and it is best to make it clear cut. But it's
Yeah,
interesting.
I always write way too much and then have to cut it. But then I always think it's better to write too much and have to cut it than write too little and think, oh, I have no idea what to add.
Yeah, or maybe I don't fully understand my project.
Yeah.
Question.
Um, yeah. So it was quite a surprise, but it was a really nice surprise to get that project. And it's such a good one as well. HMUK is a great organization, because that particular project, Do It Differently funding for the people who just joined. Um, so they don't just give you money and say, oh, here's your money and go do something with it. They also offer business advice sessions. So they you apply. I don't know how it is, if it's still the same now, but at the time I applied, you got a list of topics and you could select two of those topics that you would like to have a business advice session about with a music industry professional. And then they put you in touch with the person they've selected, and you get an afternoon or a morning of like 3 to 4 hours of mentoring. It's a lot to take in, but
Yeah.
it's so useful.
Yeah. And like as you said, like it really complements the money. It's not just kind of like, now here's the money, do it. It's like
Yeah,
support and to make the most out of the money to really maximize the potential of the project.
yeah, definitely. And I think the current round is very COVID specific. So it's even better because anything that you weren't able to do this year, then you, yeah, you can get the money to kind of support new ideas. And I can imagine that a lot of ideas do need different income streams at the moment. Like
Yeah.
putting on a professional live stream, I don't think many people have any idea of how expensive that actually is and how different it is from doing a live gig in person. So having those do it differently rounds be COVID specific now, I think that's a really, really good initiative from HMUK.
Yeah, I completely agree. And just to reiterate, just in case anyone missed it earlier, that deadline is approaching on Monday, the 23rd of November. And we have, if you go in the link in our bio, or if you're watching back, there's a link there to our resources page. You'll find information on how to apply and everything. But yeah, it is. It's a really great fund. I wish I could apply, but you have to be in less than 6. So,
You have to, sorry.
so it's like that's actually something that's good to point out. It's for groups who are less than like 6 people or less.
Oh, is
So,
it really?
so having crazy large bands.
Oh no. Maybe just temporarily kick someone out.
Literally, it's like we don't have a drummer. We're very unique that way. And I was just gonna ask you, as a Sheffield, because I'm based in Leeds, is there any other opportunities that you've had or come across that like are based in Yorkshire for people making music here?
Good question. I have to admit, like 2020 is a bit of a blur, I think, for everyone. And I've definitely stepped away from music for quite a long time in lockdown one, not in terms of singing and stuff like that, but just for Leo, because I just needed to maintain my own sanity. Um, so I think that's definitely impacted the Sheffield music industry a lot. Uh, but in terms of, gosh, good question. I think, yeah, we've got the Breakthrough Artist Development Program of Higher Rhythm that I now mentor. That is gone into its 4th year. So if anyone would like to apply, please do,
Yeah,
because I've got some space for people.
yeah, so
Um, and we've got High Rhythm as well has another round of the PRSF Open Fund to record new singles. So I guess the conclusion of that bit is just contact High Rhythm because they always have projects running. And in all honesty, I'm a bit out of the loop in Sheffield itself because I think it's been such a weird year of not seeing musicians because the amazing thing about the Sheffield music scene is how close knit it is and how amazing the atmosphere is between each other. That's really helped me develop the way I have because I only moved to Sheffield in 2016 from the Netherlands to do more with music and didn't really know anyone from Sheffield. And I went to open mic nights and met a whole bunch of musicians who just adopted me and became my friends. So it's a really nice atmosphere to grow and develop. And yeah, sadly, I'm not really aware of any formal opportunities of development, which I guess on the one hand, I'm probably not as on track with it at the moment. But on the other hand, I do also have to admit that Sheffield sometimes falls in between the cracks of Manchester, Leeds, Nottingham, where a lot of the things go to other cities. because even though the focus is on the north, Sheffield is often skipped a little bit. And you can see that in every single element of the music industry in Sheffield, because any Sheffield musician will know loads of other Sheffield musicians. But then in terms of support opportunities, for example, there's not that many bands who actually tour the city. They often on tours go Manchester, Leeds, Nottingham, and skip Sheffield, which is such a shame because we've got amazing venues here. And it is getting better again. I've kind of been looking at it over the past 4 to 5 years, thinking in 2016, thinking I have no gigs to go to. I don't really know where to look. But then in the past year or so, it's been booming again, and specific genres like more pop, rock, punk pop genres have actually come to the city again. So I think it's also just could you explain it as a wave, I guess, where you very often see the music scene in a certain city booming, and then it diminishes a little bit, and then it booms again, and then it diminishes a bit. And I think it just goes through the waves of who is actually in the city making music.
It's all a cycle, isn't it? I think
Yeah,
some of my
exactly.
favorite gigs I've ever played have been in Sheffield, so it's testament to the people in Sheffield, I think.
Yeah.
And also just to like let anyone know, in case people are watching who might be based in Sheffield and don't know about Launchpad. Launchpad is open to people all across Yorkshire as of this year. So if you're based in Sheffield, please check out what we do and please apply to our next round for both artists and music projects, which should be opening in early 2021. And we're often sharing kind of, artist development opportunities and news about funding and stuff. So we all just have to help bolster each other up a little bit more, don't we?
Definitely. And that's the great thing about opportunities being Yorkshire based, because Leeds is not far.
Oh,
I had my HMUK mentoring sessions in Leeds actually, or one of them, because it was like the week before lockdown. So one was in person, and then the next day they weren't allowed to do them in person anymore. So that was quite interesting. But I had them in Leeds, and it's not far. I think that's the great thing about Sheffield and Leeds, and being quite connected, because it's easy to get to, and they are very different but also very similar.
yep, definitely. I definitely get a different vibe when I go to Sheffield, but it's only a 45-minute drive away. It's
I
great.
know, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, up Yorkshire. I think that's everything that I wanted to ask you. Thank you so much. You have absolutely floored me with information, and it was all delivered so concise. And I
Oh,
really look
thank
forward
you.
to hearing your new music when it comes out as well. And I hope that I'll actually be able to see you at a gig. Because
Yeah, next year. It's
yeah,
it's gonna it's definitely coming out next year. I can't
yeah,
delay it any further.
no matter what, even if it's like released with nothing, it will
Yeah,
come.
exactly.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us, Leo. Well, Leonie of Leo. And
Thank you
I'll talk.
very much.
Thank
See you
you.
later.
Bye.
Bye.